Families of victims abducted in the March 28th Abuja-Kaduna train attack are asking the Nigerian Railway Corporation to prioritize the safety of the victims over plans to resume its service. They're also asking the government to intensify efforts to rescue the loved ones still in the custody of the bandits. Leperson reports.
Again, family members of kidnapped victims of the train attack gather in Kaduna. It's not a happy gathering as the past 17 days without their loved ones have been harrowing and depressing. They can only imagine the hellish ordeal their relatives are passing through in the den of the bandits. The NRC recently revealed that train services may soon resume as the repair of damaged coaches and tracks have reached advanced stages. But the relatives feel the rescue of those kidnapped should be the government's priority.
The NRC should not be talking about reopening their services now when our people are still in captivity. Because what is the assurance that if they start services now, that people that will board the trains are safe? What measures have they put in place?
Abdulmalik Atas' 85-year-old mother and sister were among those abducted. He spoke about the current twist in negotiations with the bandits after they contacted him at least 11 times.
I've spoken with them 11 times. That was 2 days before they freed the other guy, Alwan, before they freed him. We spoke as at that was last Monday was the last, but immediately they got their money. What else do you want? That money that was given jeopardized the release of the other victims. Let's say the truth. We can't afford it. They've taken theirs out, and we are left with prayers. We'll continue praying, and inshallah, God will bring them out.
The Transport Minister, Rotimi Amechi, just declared his intention to participate in the 2023 presidential race. A move the family members of the kidnapped victims feel is insensitive and reflects a lack of concern on the part of the authorities.
He doesn't show any concern. It's nothing to them. It's business as usual. Others have been kidnapped before us. What was done? So to them, what's new about us? But let them know that they are there today, but tomorrow they won't be there. The security apparatus they go around with, it's our taxpayers' money.
These people are displeased with the deafening silence of the federal and Kaduna state government, which they say is deepening a sense of mistrust. But as they continue to seek God's intervention, they also want to see the government take more proactive steps to rescue those kidnapped. Lupe Asong, TVC News, Kaduna.
An outbreak of Lassa fever has been announced by the Adamawa state government. The authorities have confirmed 2 of the 12 suspected cases. This is as monkeypox also hit Yola Correctional Center, affecting 38 inmates. Our correspondent Ola Bedenusi filed this report.
First cholera outbreak was recorded on June 30th, 2021 at Gurura community in Gurai local government area of the state, and later spread to other local government with a total of 1,959 suspected cases. A rising number of casualties spurred the World Health Organizations and others to partner the state government to subdue it. The good news is that the state has now been declared a cholera-free zone. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Isa Abdullahi, says the state is yet to record any case, despite heightened surveillance for the epidemic for several weeks. This may not be a time to relax, but a window of opportunity for stakeholders to heighten their preparedness against cholera and other preventable diseases.
Since we have not recorded any case, despite heightened surveillance for cholera for several weeks, the government and partners are happy to declare the cholera outbreak over. Since the beginning of the outbreak, a total of 1,959 suspected cases with 55 deaths were recorded, and this gives a case fatality rate of 2.8%. However, this does not suggest a time to relax, but a window of opportunity to heighten our preparedness against cholera and other vaccine-preventable.
And while the cholera outbreak may be in remission, Adamawa State has recorded an outbreak of Lassa fever and monkeypox.
It's worthy of note to also bring to your notice that Adamawa State recently recorded its first ever confirmed case of monkeypox early this year, 2022. After a few weeks, an outbreak of same disease occurred in the Yola North Correctional Center with 37 inmates affected. Necessary public health interventions were instituted and all recovered without any death recorded so far.
But the government is confident that with adequate awareness campaign by the media, the state will subdue both Lassa fever and monkeypox.
Now, the federal government has flagged off the distribution of 40,000 tons of assorted grains to displaced and vulnerable Nigerians, as well as women groups. Agriculture Minister Mohammed Abubakar says this is aimed at cushioning the effects of high cost of food items, ensuring food security and alleviating poverty. Lara Falayo reports on this.
An internally displaced persons camp at Karamajiji in the FCT. The agricultural authorities have come to distribute grains to the vulnerable here. It is to cushion the effects of the times by providing the people with the commodity from the strategic grain reserves.
We'll work with the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. They will be distributing about 12,000 metric tons. We'll be working with the Women Affairs Ministry, Youth and Sport, and any other strategic ministry so that the distribution is seamless. What we want is to get this to those that need it.
The locals are very glad about the gesture and express gratitude to the authorities.
I want to say this item will reduce the high rate of food cost in the food commodity in our society, and this will boost at least the reduced price of commodity all over Nigeria. We thank you, Honorable Minister, for this, our support to this displaced people.
A similar development was also seen at the Women Affairs Ministry. Here, women groups are given grains as part of government's emergency nationwide exercise. The women were advised to make good use of the items received.
What we are about to do now is a symbolic presentation. You've seen the vehicles with the grains. We will reach out, as we've been reaching out, to all the faith-based organizations in order to support you. I call on all the beautiful women gathered here that what our dear country needs today is prayer for Mr. President, prayers for our security armed forces that are out there in the field, seeking to protect the integrity of this country.
This is the second that we are flagging up today, and then the distribution will continue across the 36 states and FCT. So we thank Mr. President, and we thank you for turning out today.
The food items were given to the beneficiaries by the authorities in the spirit of the Easter and forthcoming Ramadan celebrations. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
And the Federal Ministry of Transportation has flagged off Operation Free the Port Corridor, an initiative aimed at ridding the port's environment of illegalities. The Port Standing Task Team has been mandated to tackle the alarming level of corruption going on along the port access roads, which has played a major role in the malignant traffic gridlock along that corridor. TVC News correspondent Ifunaya Eze reports.
There are no fewer than 26 illegal checkpoints between the Apapa Port Corridor and CFAX Bonded Terminal, Ijora, a distance of less than 2 kilometers. To address some of these issues, participants at this flag-off ceremony of the Port Standing Task Team acknowledge that too many anomalies prevail along the port corridor.
Indeed, the port corridors are not free. The traffic does not have free flow. The shanties are not freeing spaces for conducive business environment, and the unnecessary checkpoints obviously do not make for an atmosphere free of extortion and other forms of corrupt practices.
The key thing is that we have to treat this thing holistically, and that holistical treatment is what we are trying to achieve. And the aim of this holistic achievement is for us to improve or achieve ease of doing business.
We have to introduce and form an enlarged tax team involving all the officers of government in no particular order who are on that road to do their statutory functions. And all of us unequivocally agreed that we must free that port corridor.
But beyond what may seem like a change in nomenclature, many here advocate a sincere commitment from all agencies in the port for there to be any headway in tackling the subsisting corruption along the port corridor.
Ecomog, Camboys, Kelebe, whatever names you are calling them, they are standing for the agencies that they have mentioned earlier, and nobody is exempted. These boys are not on their own. They are enjoying backup from whoever they are enjoying the backup from. And if we do not go to the source, they will keep operating and giving deliverables to the people who are sending them, and all of us will just be shouting for nothing.
The conviction is that the persistent threat to the ease of doing business initiative in Nigeria's ports and the corridors can no longer be left unresolved.
We have a monitoring and regulatory division which I'm going now to head. It would be a key take back from this meeting, and I want to assure you that management had over the time been looking at getting this port to the desired international standard. We cannot afford to be left behind in the Committee of Maritime Nations.
The port standing tax team now has a one-year timeline to deploy a common standard operating procedure in ridding the ports of all forms of illegalities. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.